market has done a 180 in the last week. What does that mean for you? We're going to talk about some stats and some numbers that you might find interesting. And we're also going to do the live Q&A. It is a pleasure to see you. If we don't know each other yet, my name is Brian Hymas. I am a real estate agent here in the Boise Valley, representing a ton of sellers, a ton of buyers, some sellers and a ton of buyers because of this YouTube channel. And so I get a ton of chances to interact with people just like you who are coming to town. And it's awesome. We got a system that is nailed down, is dialed down. I call it the Easy 1, 2, 3 system. Get you guys home here in the promised land. And it helps me see what's really going on when we put offers in and not just, hopeful. I mean, this past week, I've been working with two close to 1 million buyers and then 2 lower than 500 buyers. And both those markets have seen a shift. And I wouldn't even call it a shift. I'd call it a 180 difference. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, Brian Hymas, real estate agent for the last 5 years here in Boise, with a huge emphasis on helping you out-of-staters get to Boise. Just answering questions, bragging on my city. It's what I do best, and born and raised here. So very few times there's not a part of Boise Boise, the Treasure Valley, that I don't know. But it does happen. But one of the best parts about doing this is just seeing you guys take the keys and become an Idahoans. And it's really the dream is to become an Idahoan. So again, you got the number at your bottom of your screen, 208-213-2092, and then Brian at brianhymas.com. I'm helping people. Some people move, some people don't, but I'm helping plenty of people, and I'd love to help you as well. Get here and make Idaho yours. So let's talk about where we're at in the market really quick. Let's talk really quick. So in the past year, we've seen appreciation, double-digit appreciation. We're in the roughly, according to my broker, we're around 33% value increase in values over last year. So we are seeing a huge increase, which is great for people who have bought. For people who haven't bought, you're wondering, man, is now the right time? Did I miss the boat? I don't want to get into something and be over my head with if the market comes crashing down. Well, we also have looming interest rates in March. What's going to happen there? Why we're not going to look at why they're doing that, but we will talk about those rates because they have a direct play on what we're seeing right now in today's market. Like by today, I mean literally today's market. Before we go any further, if you want to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell, you'll get notified when all things Boise real estate come your way. So, which is great for you because you're learning everything you can about Boise, and it's a chance for you to get all things accurate and up to date. I had a buyer in town today who would serve himself well to be on this channel. He came to town, didn't contact me, and I actually found out through the grapevine he was buying. And he didn't went around, and there was something that happened in that area where he was buying that he didn't know. So when I say we're up to date and all things accurate, this is all things up to date. This is as up to date it can get. So, let's see. Let's talk about some stats in the Boise Valley. And before we get there, I will slow down just a little bit before we get there. So if you have any questions, please, would you write those in the comments? I can actually see. I can see though. Oh, Ruth, thanks for saying hi. Good to see you. If you have, I'd love to know where you're watching from, and then if you're live, write #live, and then if you're replay, do a #replay. Helps me when I'm responding to comments later on to know if I should be if it's been responded to. Then I will via person. Then I don't reply in the future, but if it has a #replay, it helps me know to reply by typing. So that's me that responds those. I don't hire that out. That's all me. So if you have any questions, write it there in the chat. If it's about the market, it probably will be about the market in this segment, as this is the market update as of February 15th, 2022. So let's talk about the market in Ada County. So there's Treasure Valley, which kind of encompasses all of Ada and Canyon County. Then there's Ada County, which is Boise, Meridian, Eagle, Star, Garden City, and Kuna. And that is a lot of where I do the business. I mean, I'm writing up an offer tonight on a house in Nampa, Caldwell area. And so it's not like I'm only in Ada County, but I live in Eagle and I do a lot of what I do my day-to-day in the Ada County area. Currently in Ada County, there are 315 homes for sale. It's a little low. It's a little low, especially for how much demand we're seeing. Ruth from Iowa. Ruth, tell me, I have not helped anyone from Iowa. That's a new state I'm hearing, because usually I hear people from California, Washington. Tell me what has you tuned in from Iowa. Would love to know. Pending homes in Ada County, we have 732. That's a good number. It could be higher, and that means 732 people are getting either investing in a home, or they're moving here, or moving from Boise to Boise, or Ada County, or from another county or another state into our county. And there were, in the last 30 days, 687 happy families or happy people who purchased a home. The median days on market is 11. I talk about this a lot. Median days on market is something we use as a metric to kind of determine how hot the market is. 11 is hot. 3 is smoking hot. I actually expect, because of what I've seen in the last week, I expect in a month when we do this again to see the median days on market closer to 3 or 4 in Eagle. In Boise, closer to 5. In Eagle, I expect it to be closer to 3. If we were to look at Eagle, I focus on Eagle just because Eagle, median price, I missed that, around 550,000. It's there on your screen at 545,020, 545,020. Revi or Revi, welcome. Where are you coming from? Let's go to Eagle stats. Eagle stats, there's 33 active homes in Eagle. That means there's really not a lot to look at in Eagle. Not a lot at all. There are, in fact, I probably walked through half of those just this past week. There's really not a lot in Eagle. Pending homes, 64 homes. So that's right in there with the same ratios as you get with Ada County. A little bit more, that's about 2x, and both of them are about 2x of what the active homes are, which is fine. But what we want to see is more active homes, way more active homes. Pending's, in my opinion, it's in relation to the actives, and we don't want to be 2x pending to active. What that means is when people say there's no inventory in the market, one, I hate that, because it's something I don't think you guys care about. What we're seeing is homes that hit the market, and then you can see there's 33 active and the 64 pending. What that's showing is when there's a home that hits the market, that home is getting an offer on it. So we want to make sure, if it's priced correctly, that we're putting in fair offers and acting quickly. That's really what it comes down to. When we have in Ada County, in Eagle, we have 71 sold homes in the last month. We expect that number to go up in the next 30 days. Median days on market in Eagle is 8, extremely low. It's just barely over a week. That means basically close to average of 1.1917 weeks. So if it hits the market on Friday, we're going under contract Friday or Saturday next week on average, or on the median. Median, I like tracking median just because if you have a house that's not selling and it's taking 150 days to sell, the median eliminates that. So that's why I say median. There's a reason for that. It's not to skew the numbers. It's to help us get a more accurate picture of the market. And Jeff, I see your question. I'll finish up with Eagle and I'll get to it. And then the median sold price in Eagle is close to $900,000. That number has, in the last, if we track that month over month for the last 3 or 4 months, we're right there. That hasn't really changed. That, which is a good segue to your question, Jeff. Are there still multiple, I'm missing some of this, bids? Okay. Are there still multiple bids that we're asking? So I'm going to say, one, let's back up on that question. In June or July, we saw the end of multiple bids, not end 100%, but for the most part, an end on those multiple bidding wars, and the offering tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands over asking. So we saw a lull from July till a week ago. In the last week, I've seen personally at least 5 homes. I've been a part of 3 offers that have been bidding wars that we have put in offers. One we put in too low. One was a first-time home buyer who didn't have the down payment for to put an offer over asking, and another one was as a new construction that we were too late to offer on. That we've seen in multiple bidding wars. And then another one was a story of an agent who we offered a really low on that house. And I asked the agent, because I know her, I said, hey, do you have any other stories of how the market's going? And she said, I had a listing last week, $1 million in East Boise. And East Boise is an area I don't venture too much. It's a nice area. It's kind of an Eagle feel. And it was a house listed at $1 million, and it went for, any guesses? It was $1 million, and it went pending at $1.2 million. $1.2 million. It was, that's from Malaysia. Revi, welcome from Malaysia. That's cool. $1,200,000 over asking. So you have to remember that when a house is cleaned, when it's spacious, when it's light, when it has clean carpets, it doesn't have any major repairs that jump out at you. Remember, buyers are buying emotionally, and if you hit those emotions, they're going to want to make that their home. Sometimes it will not matter. They've saved their whole lives. They're finally moving out of where they're living at, and this is their dream, and you're going to make their dream come true. So be prepared for that. Unfortunately, that's the case. When we talk about there's options to get around that, though, and not everything's doom and gloom or sunshine and roses. When we talk about the market like that, like today, I have people who are first-time home buyers, and when we have this market we're in, there are options for them. And actually, after this, I'm going to get off and I'm going to submit an offer for asking price with a $5,000 seller concession. And I am 100% confident we'll get it, because I've been talking to the agent listing the home, and it's a situation that the sellers are willing to work with. And that home has only been on the market for 11 days. It's not like it's been sitting there forever. So there are options. There's not always an option, but there are options. And you have to be aware of those. And whether it's me or you're working with someone else, you need to be aware of those options so that you can not get stuck paying for something that's, one, overpriced, and two, you don't want to be stuck paying for something that you're not willing to come in with the extra money down. So it can happen. Before this last week, people have been talking about, when I say people in the real estate industry have been talking about how we're going to see multiple bidding wars and over asking. We've been kind of discussing how it's going to be slightly over asking and slight bidding wars. That's good for the temperature of the market, because we don't ever want to see, if the market can go up its whole life, that's what we all want. We all invest in real estate and it goes up. What we don't want to do is have it go down. If today a house is worth $1 million and next month it's worth 10 million, but over the last decade, we've seen an increase by that same percentage. Let's say that, what is $1 million to 10 million, 1,000%. If we see 1,000% increases month over month from the beginning of time, that number doesn't matter to us. What we want to do is sustain that growth. What's scary is what's happened is it's went like this and then it lulled. And then if we go like this again, that's I want to say scary. That's just not what we're looking for, because you don't want the market correction. But what we've seen is the third great migration. I have a coach, and he talks about this, how this is the third great migration. We're in a time when COVID hit, and now we can work remote. Whether you want to live in a state where you get more masks, or in Idaho where you get less masks, or more restrictions or less restrictions, people are moving where they want to move to. Some people have actually moved to apartment buildings. A lot of people have moved to Idaho. In fact, we've seen about 1,500 people. Let's see, where's that stat at? 1,500 people out of the 1,200 homes that were sold last year came from out of state. And so that's people just like you who are searching for what they desire in Idaho, which I'm guessing is conservative America. And that's because that's who I deal with every day. So that is kind of gives you an idea of what we're working with when we say the Great Migration. So that is good for we're going back to the market data, because people in that Great Migration are moving and they're not stopping at this point. And so if you have someone who's finally able to leave their work, or finally able to save enough money to escape California or escape wherever, or maybe it's not an escape, maybe it's just relocation, maybe it's not always negative, I don't know. Then that is what's driving a lot of our market, is that great third migration, where people are given the chance to work in their homes wherever they want, and keep their salaries most times. So any questions from you guys? Anything I've got a few more things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about lumber. I'm going to talk about some of the data of what's sold, if we're in a seller's market or not. I'm going to talk about Canada, and I'm going to talk about inflation just a little bit. So any other questions, please hit me up. I can see those questions come in. Another thing we should be talking about is lumber prices right now. Lumber hit an all-time high in May 2021, about $1,600 per 1,000 board feet. Huge number. And then it quickly went down again, and then now it's back up to about almost $1,300 per 1,000 board feet. And so we're well over $1,000 per 1,000 board feet. Whether that peaks again at that May mark, whether it peaks before or peaks after, we will see. But right now, for that board feet, we're seeing high prices. A lot of times, just so you know, when you get into a contract, some builders, not all, will have options for the buyer to get out. I have a build job right now in Kuna. It's my best friend from growing up. His house, they have an option. They're building with an awesome builder, Trisidio, and they have, if it goes up X percentage, then they have the option to back out. And some builders are like that. If you're building with others, that's not always the case. Got to know who you're building with. Got to know what you're building, and you got to be well represented. Remember, when you do build a home, I'm part of my YouTube channel. Hey, you guys would love. I'm doing something really cool. I'm going to start doing some videos with some home builders, and talking with an agent who represents about 7 or 8 builders, and she's we're collabing on this. She wants to have me interview her builders, and then from there I'm going to interview more builders. And she told me, she's like, I want you to do that because I want you to get the buyers and I want the seller. I want to represent the seller. And just so you know, people want to have the buyers be represented. She's a prime example of that. It does the transaction good. I hardly ever double end. I've double ended one deal and I've referred out quite a few others. It's not impossible. It just makes it really smooth to really 100% focus on who your buyer is, because if you're representing both, you're not really concerned about the buyer and the seller as much as you are closing that deal. And which is good, but sometimes your interest can be lost in that. So same thing when building a house, you want to make sure your interests are well represented. It doesn't cost you anything extra, right? If it's written into that contract, which oftentimes it is, what they're going to pay the buyer's agent to be there. So Steve Hurd, hi, thanks for the live stream. You bet, Steve. I'm thinking of listing my home around the first week of June. Would that be good timing, generally speaking? Generally speaking, yeah, it actually is. So if you have, there's a few things at play. If we take away appreciation and interest rates we're expecting to go up in March. We're kind of wondering what's going to happen in that June, July area with interest rates, which will encourage or discourage buying activity. But remember, when the market goes, Steve, if you are, I don't know if you're represented if you have an agent, or if you're I don't know if you're even in Idaho. Where are you coming from, Steve? If you want to reach out to me, honestly, and if it's not me, if you have another agent, I would say it's still super wise advice to have me or your agent come over now. For me, it takes 3 weeks to list a home. And it takes time for you to do things in between. If that home is not ready, it takes time for you to do things in that home and that space of time that you'll want to be prepping your house for listing. A lot of agents can list a home in 2 days. I don't do it that way. I do a lot of marketing on the other end. We talk a lot about buying in this channel. Selling is something I love because my appraisal background. And so, sorry if I get a little bit off on a tangent here, but I just love this question. Yeah, first week of June is great. Even the weekend before with Memorial Day weekend can be a good weekend too, because people are out going through open houses. I don't typically do open houses, but sometimes I do. And Memorial Day weekend, you're North Meridian, cool. 83646 is North Meridian for those who are wondering. Yeah, Steve, if you have another agent, contact that agent now. If you have no one, or if you have someone and you want that to be me, or if you want to even see if we're a good fit, I would love to come over and chat about your house, walk it through, make sure we're prepping the house accordingly. And if we're ahead of schedule 2 months, great. We'll schedule the photographer. We'll be well prepared for. We'll schedule the stagers, things I do on my own dime to get in there your house and make sure your house is 100% ready. So Is that a good time, generally speaking? Yes. And then there's another factor with these these buyers right now that are out of state. And there with these buyers that are out of state, I have a lot of people who say, "Oh, we're going to move after the school year." So a lot of them will come after the school year and they'll start touring homes, whether it's the first weekend in June or whether it's middle of June, middle of the summer. That is the time to go. So, Steve, my email address down there, brian@brianhamas.com, or text me at that number. And if you have another agent, get a hold of them. But yeah, it's never too early. But generally speaking, good time, yes. If you can list earlier, right? The only market we ever know is today's, right? So if I say, yeah, June's a good time, but today's a good market, you have to be always comfortable if you can answer the question, what about today's market? Just like buying, guys. When I just got some buyers into a house and they were stressing that their max budget was $370 and they didn't have any extra money to put down towards the house. And they wanted to, I just texted them, I told them the story of that family who I told you a similar budget, and they need a concession on buying from the sellers. And they said, good, we were worried we bought you at the peak. We bought at the peak. And you don't want to buy at the peak, but you want to be comfortable with what they were buying. And they ultimately were deciding if they were okay with that market from last month. And they were. And it happens to be that now in the last 7 days, we're seeing the market go up again. And then now they're super at ease. We don't know what tomorrow's market brings. And so if you are comfortable today, today's the day, because it's just like the stock. It's just like having the stock market, right? Or if you're in crypto, in your crypto market, whatever it is, like you're betting on the future. You're betting on the future. I was hoping maybe pricing might go up next couple months. And yeah, so Steve, so what we're expecting right now in the Valley is single digit appreciation for the next 12 months. That's what we're expecting. We're expecting interest rates to go up in March as well. And so we're going to see what role that plays on buyers, but we're also confident that single digit appreciation is going to happen. So which would play in your favor, right? So that's 4 months from now. So 4 months, that's close to 4% appreciation. So yeah, in that regard, you could be striking gold, right? An extra 4% on your house. But that's why I say bet on today's market. If you like today's market, then today's market's good, especially because there's bidding wars where you might have a bidding war taking over 4%. You might, in June, the market might cool again, like it did last year in that time, and you might I don't know how much your house is worth, or if it's a basic home, or if it's a $1.5 million home in Spur Wing, or if it's a CBH home, and I don't know. And so there's a lot of different factors in there as well. So thanks, Steve. I love it. I love the questions, made it interesting. Go off on a tangent while at the same time, those are questions I wanted to answer and have bullet points for. Here is the appreciation, the inflation, and the interest rates. Did I say that? Interest rates, appreciation, and inflation. If you don't think inflation's real, go to the grocery store or go to your dollar store, which is now the $1.25 store. Yeah, so like nothing like last year, Steve. I'm not sure. I mean, we don't think so. We were expecting the market to increase like it has all right now, but like last year, not like last year, better than last year, worse than last year. I'm expecting not as high as last year, but I'm still expecting single digit appreciation. I spent a morning deep into inflation and appreciation and interest rates, and that's what we were talking about. Costs are rising with new. I'm going to just be brief on this. I'm just going to be really brief, unless you guys want to go into more detail on this. But Canadians in British Columbia, there's a fire. There's some massive supply chain issues. There's some truckers that aren't driving, if you haven't heard. And there's been increased tariffs, and that's all plays a part in the lumber industry. Best time to plant a tree is when? In this case, too bad not 40 years ago we didn't plant a bunch of pine trees in our backyard, because we could maybe retire off those 20 years ago, and second best times now. But those trees that were burned down, unfortunately, that's not helping the supply and demand issue. Interest rates are hovering around 4% right now. I've got from US Bank, it's 4 1/8, 4.125. My lender is closer to 3 7/8, somewhere in 3 3/4, somewhere around there. My lender is a wholesale lender that I use. He's got a lot of good rates he can hook you up with, and he's also cheaper closing costs. And so US Bank's 4 1/8, but we can get them we're still getting them under 4 right now. I talked about inflation. Any questions, guys, for first-time home buyers? I've had a few experiences in those in the last month. Any questions for the market that I haven't covered in its totality yet? I've talked about the touring of the homes and how we've gotten people into homes. It's really a good time to act right now. If you see something you want, it's a good time to act. I had somebody ask this morning on a showing, asked me, well, if we like it, should we sit and wait? kind of funny. Like, if you like it, you go get it. You go get that house, right? Don't wait for it. If it's not priced right, make an offer what you think is priced right. Most homes that will get you to buy, when you walk in, you just love it, you want to make an offer, they're already priced right. Otherwise, your brain, buyers are some of the smartest pricing people, because you're usually walking through a lot of homes, and online you're seeing a lot of homes. So something, if you're looking at $900,000 homes and all of a sudden you see a $900,000 home that looks like it should be $750,000, in your head you're thinking, no way, right? It just triggers something, and you're thinking, no, it's spot the knot. You're spotting something that doesn't belong. So you can often tell what's going on there. Any questions regarding the home inspections, or let's talk about new construction versus a resale home real quick. In this market, one of the ways to avoid bidding wars is go new construction. When you go new construction in the valley right now, you're looking at a smaller yard, depending on your budget. Obviously, if you have $5 million, you can still get a 5-acre parcel and a new 7,000 square foot home with a basketball court. I mean, so I am talking about a certain $1 million and under type of home. You're looking at smaller lots. And you also get the warranty. Everything works. Nothing's going to break. And probably nothing's going to flood. No water heaters are going to go out. No HVAC systems are going to go out. No motors are going to go out. So that's, do I prefer new construction or resale? It really depends on where you're coming from. If we continue to see the resale market go for tens of thousands over asking, then we will be up against it. Last spring, a handful, most builders started doing the bidding war thing. Not intentionally, a lot of them, to their credit, but a lot of times offers would just come in over asking, and they would obviously take them. I'm not saying put your offers in by a certain date, but sometimes, I mean, I had my buyers, we offered $650 on a home that's probably worth $850 or $900 right now, and we just said, let's offer $650 on a $600 home, and we were the first offer in, and had we not offered, it probably would have gone for somewhere in that range. But right now they're sitting on a couple $100,000 of equity. And they weren't taking first offer. They looked at all of them, and they weren't saying, we're going to review offers at a certain time, but they just happened to do that. So it can pay to offer more, and they're not encouraging those necessarily. So do I think it's a good time to buy a house? Well, let's see. What do you guys think? Good time to buy a house right now? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? Yes or no? I would love to see what you guys think. Would you guys buy a house right now? Steve, you're selling. Are you buying in Boise, or are you going elsewhere? I do think now is a good time to buy, especially before the interest rates hit, just because that protects your pocketbook. There's the 1%, 10% rule, where a 1% increase in interest rate decreases your purchase power by 10%. So we want to keep that in mind. And the market is hot. That doesn't mean it's not worth competing in. It just means usually you're looking at instant equity, because the market's going up by at least a percentage point a year. So again, my number has been scrolling at the bottom of the screen this whole time, 208-213-2092. If you want to text or call, please do. Steve, for some reason the response is coming super late. I assume you're always a good time. It's always a good time. Whoa. Always a good time. I mean, it's rent. Well, I think. Well, Steve, if you're saying you want to wait for the appreciation to go up, what if the appreciation keeps going up? You just kind of bet, and then in the future there's gonna be a downturn. That's a scary bet, but it's also when you might win that. I was thinking in 2015 I was gonna rent while the market corrected itself, and I'm sure glad we didn't. The house is now worth 2.5x what we bought it for. So. Call or text anytime. Also email Brian at brianhymus.com. Those go straight to my inbox, and I'm happy to help you. guys, there really is, I say it on my videos all the time, there really is no greater compliment than a phone call or a text or an email from you letting me know that you're moving to Boise and that you'd like some help in orienting yourself to Boise or in the home buying process. And that's what my channel is for, is Boise and the home buying process, and all the activities that surround awesome Boise. If you need to be represented, I obviously will not shy away from that. If you have simple questions, please hit me up. I love helping you guys and making Idaho your home and making you guys Idahoans, real Idahoans. And I love Boise. I wish I could make everyone an Idahoan. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but if you're thinking about Boise, pick up the phone, call or text, email, and would love to help you. Again, I've been an agent for the last 5 years, and I was an appraiser before that, born and raised here. So hopefully I know the valley somewhat. And yeah, if you want to hit that like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit that bell. Those are good things for you, so you guys don't miss out on those videos. So any other questions before I go? These questions have some sort of delay, a little bit of delay, so I'll let it sit for a second. But it's been a pleasure spending the evening with you. And this, if you're on the replay, do type in where you're coming from with a hashtag replay and then your question or your comment, and we can go from there. But it really has been a good time being with you. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.